Welcome to the YouTube channel of Life and More. Today we have with us author Rajesh Talwar. He needs no introduction. He has written so many stories, novels, and plays for children. Now he's come out with his third play for children that is based on the life of Subhash Chandra Bose. Welcome, Mr. Talwar.
Thank you, Rajkumari Sharma ji. So nice to be on your platform.
Yeah, it's all our pleasure to have you once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is your third play for children, right? So what
Well,
explains your interest in kids writing plays for kids?
actually, it's an untapped market because this is my fourth play. The first play
Okay.
was only an e version, uh, and then I
Okay.
found children writing to me from different countries, from Switzerland, from
Okay.
Mexico, saying that can we use this material. So that gave me an idea that maybe there is a gap in the market. So then I wrote this book on this play on Ambedkar, Baba Sahib Ambedkar,
Yeah.
who wrote a
Yeah.
constitution. And
Yeah.
my publisher was very surprised with the results. He said, Rajesh, there is a huge market, and it looks like the publishers haven't tapped into this market because
Okay.
children want contemporary plays about historical figures to perform and to learn about them. And the big publishers, Penguin, HarperCollins, they haven't yet figured this out because the demand is great and let's do a translation. So
Okay.
that gave me the idea. Okay, let's try to make this a series. So there are
Okay.
three books in the series. There is The Boy Who Wrote a Constitution on Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Then there is The Boy Who Became the Mahatma on Mahatma Gandhi. And now, most recently, just released on Subhash
Yeah.
Chandra Bose, the boy
Who,
who became, the
who
boy who
fought
fought.
an empire? Fought an
Yes,
empire.
yes, yes.
Yeah. So okay. Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So these are the three books.
Yeah.
You have a
Yeah.
similar kind of covers as you'll see,
Yeah.
and uh, they are a series. They have the flag colors. Yes.
So we'll expect more from you on historical figures, like in coming future. Have you planned like that?
Well, it's I have three plans. One is, of course, today I sent a selfie to some friends with all these three books, and a request that please suggest to me uh, the girl who, because these three are the boy who. So can't ignore the contributions of women. So we need to have at least one book, if not
Okay.
more, on the girl who, whatever she did. And I said, don't send
Okay.
me Rani of Jhansi because
Uh-huh.
that is a great figure, but it has been done before by many people. So let's have, there are many women who have contributed. So that
Yeah.
is, yes, that is definitely one of the plans, and also maybe a book on iconic Indians, which
Okay.
introduces them to children.
Okay. Okay. So, like it will be only historical figures you planning, or some later day people also that you plan to keep in
Well,
your series.
I think uh, post independence is also a good idea. So maybe I will do one on 20 iconic Indians, which include contemporary figures like Field Marshal Manik Shah, about whom there was just a film recently, or
Yeah.
Abu Kalam Azad, our president, and other contemporary figures who have achieved great heights, so that children can relate to them as role models. Uh,
Yeah.
so that is the plan.
That's okay. Okay. So now we come to your the boy who fought an empire. So what was the reason behind picking up Subhash Chandra Bose? Like
I
there are
think,
so many historical figures.
sure, sure.
Why you
I,
zeroed in on Subhash Chandra Bose?
my own personal understanding is that uh, Mahatma Gandhi, he fought the British from within, and Subhash Bose fought it from outside. So, in fact, in the play, I give an example. I say that uh, it's like some rats have got into the house. So you try inside to throw them out, you struggle from inside, and then you shake the house from outside also. So, and Subhash Bose, he understood this because he had a Gandhi brigade, he had a Nehru regiment, he had, of course, the Rani of Jhansi regiment, but he never ignored the others who were fighting from within. And I think because he was vilified by the British, by the colonial powers, who falsely accused him of being a fascist, and somehow we also fell into the trap, our historians of that time, they fell into the trap of thinking, yes, he was a friend of Hitler. Now we find that recent material has shown that Subhash Bose actually had a very poor opinion of Hitler. He says Hitler was very obstinate, he would not listen to anything, or he
Yeah.
reminded him of an Afghan warlord. The other thing is that children don't know that Subhash Bose, he tried very hard to curtail or stop in its tracks the Bengal famine. The Bengal famine claimed millions of lives and food was available. But Mr. Winston Churchill did not deem it fit to send the food to starving millions. Subhash Bose wrote to him time and time again, saying, we have rice in Burma. Please allow us to send the food to Bengal. So I feel some historical correction was necessary. Especially, I feel bad about Subhash Bose. Yes, of course, we have a great statue of him today. The past neglect is being made up for, but some of the past accusations against him, the false accusations, they have not been redressed. So when I speak to my nephews, they say, "Oh, but wasn't Bose a great admirer of Hitler?" I said, "No, that is not true. Wasn't Mr. Bose a supporter of fascism?" I said, "That is also not true." So this play has taken account of new historical material, especially there's a book by Miss Mukherjee, which reveals all this information, how, and which is why, for example, Mr. Shashi Tharoor, he says that Winston Churchill deserves to stand alongside Hitler, and Stalin and Mao is one of the great villains of the last century for causing the death of millions of Bengalis, especially Indians, in a completely preventable famine. So there were thousands of tons of rice just a few thousand kilometers away. Mr. Bose was requesting. So all this has been dramatized. Bose, of course, the focus of the play is on Subhash Bose's childhood, how he sought meaning and purpose from a very young age, and then it goes on to how he fought bullying in school, in Presidency College especially. He took up the cause of other students who were being beaten up by a British teacher, and he was rusticated. He was expelled from college. So he paid a big price. Then I also discuss another scene where he goes to a cholera affected area, uh, and his uncle comes that it's not safe. You will also get cholera. Come back. But he says, no, I'm going to be here. So it paints a complete picture. As they say, the child is the father of the man. And I believe children will love it.
But you said that he was vilified by the Empire forces, Brit people. But he was vilified by Indians also. Let's be very
Absolutely.
frank about it. He
Absolutely.
was
Absolutely.
deliberately kept out, and he was not given the due that was to him.
Absolutely.
Let's say
Absolutely.
Gandhi
You're,
G and Nehru Ji were not kind to him.
I
They
would say,
were, I
I,
think, they were
I would,
scared of
I would say,
rising.
especially, I would say, especially Nehruji, because uh, Nehru, for whatever reason, he did not even have a portrait of Subhash Bose in the central halls of parliament till many, many years. So you had all these very small leaders whose portraits had been put up in the central hall of parliament, but Subhash Bose's portrait was not there. The INA soldiers were not allowed to join the Indian army. So yes, Mr. Bose was perceived by Mr. Nehru as a threat, possibly. I can't understand
Yeah.
why else he would have been sidelined and ignored. And actually, if you
Ah.
think of it, Subhash Bose's life was very exciting. Now, Mr. Nehru spent a lot of his, of course, he was prime minister for many decades, but prior to independence, he was in jail. But Subhash Bose was traveling the world, having adventures. So his life was very exciting. The paperwork, the record, it's a shame that we have neglected him for so long. And that is,
Yeah.
of course, another reason, a very important reason why a play like this has to come out.
So, what you talked about a book by Miss Mukherjee. What all? First of all, tell us the name of that book as well, and also what other research material did you refer to while you were writing this book?
Sure. Well, Miss Mukherjee's book is called Churchill's Secret War. And
Okay.
it's about that on the one hand, the West lionizes him that he was the great hero who defeated Hitler. But there was a secret war being waged against poor Indians. Millions of Indians died. So it focuses on this famine, this completely preventable famine where people were dying on the streets of Calcutta. Their bodies were being lifted up and taken away to the morgue. Indian soldiers were fighting for the World War, for which they appreciated, but people were dying. So, so it's a very important new book. It's won lots of awards, and it redresses uh, the injustice done to Mr. Bose to some extent. For the childhood events, Mr. Bose has himself written a book. It's a partial
Okay.
autobiography. So rather than go to secondary sources, I always prefer to go to the original. So, for example, in Mahatma Gandhi's, the play on Mahatma Gandhi, there also, I went to Mahatma Gandhi's original writings about his childhood. Or the play on Baba Sahib Ambedkar, I went to Baba Sahib's writings on his childhood experiences. And the same is true for Subhash Bose, an Indian pilgrim, an unfinished biography. He talks about the profound influence with his headmaster had on him. Headmaster advised him to spend time with nature, to read widely. He did that, but he was not satisfied. And then he was influenced by a Swami who told him, do yoga, respect your parents. He did that for some time, but then he was disillusioned with religion for some time. Then he came across the writings of Swami Vivekanand, who said that the Indian should consider the pariah, the untouchable, they are all his brothers. He was very moved. And so he regained his faith in religion, but without the ritual, without the superstition, without the casteism. And he then went towards social work, which is what took him to cholera affected areas. But
Yeah.
there also he then realized that actually there's not much he can do until the power shifts. So for much of the play, I have relied on his own original writings. And sometimes
Okay.
I have put his exact words into the
Acha.
text. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Of
Okay.
course,
Can you
context.
can you share some of the instances, some of the excerpts where you put in his own words?
Oh, there are too many to mention
Acha.
because, for
Okay.
example, his impression, what he speaks to his headmaster, you know.
Okay.
So he mentions that in his autobiography. So that is just included. Or his
Okay.
reaction to Vivekanand's works. He's so
Okay.
moved. Or when he, starts walking home from school to save money which he gives to a beggar. So, all these instances, I have used his own words.
Okay, okay. So, how much time did you take to complete this book cover to cover? And did you get stuck anywhere, anytime while writing the book?
Yes, actually, uh, I didn't get stuck so much, but because Mr. Bose had such an eventful life, it was difficult to decide sometimes what to include, what not to include. So, for
Okay.
example, when he fights against his school teacher, when he takes on his school teacher, this Englishman, Mr. Orton. So, Mr. Orton used to abuse the students, he used to beat them up, and as class representative, Subhash Bose took the matter up to the principal of the
Yeah, in
school
Presidency College.
in Presidency College. So in Presidency College, he went to the principal. The principal said, "This guy is Mr. Orton is a member of the Indian Education Service, so I can't do very much about it." And then Subhash Bose confronted Mr. Orton himself, but I needed to think a little before including such a scene because you don't want to send a message to young children that they should disrespect their teachers. So Mr. Orton himself was transformed subsequently as his
Acha.
as a so he deeply regretted that
But you
encounter.
haven't mentioned that in book.
I have. So
Maybe I missed it.
the children are talking about how Mr. Orton later on even writes a poem, and
Acha.
the
Okay.
extract from that poem is reproduced in the book. That he says,
Okay.
"Subhash, we crossed each other. You are such a true patriot." Mr. Orton
Okay.
learns of his death, and he composes a poem. So the teacher is transformed in this case. Normally, of course, the students are transformed by the teacher, but sometimes the teacher can
Yeah.
also be.
That shows the greatness of the man.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So, while you were like developing this Subhash's character for children, like keeping children in mind, so how did you go about it?
Well,
Writing specifically for children?
yes, I think to make it more contemporary, I have these five school children who are performing the play and they are discussing the scenes amongst themselves. So it makes it very contemporary. And they discuss, oh, I didn't realize this about Winston Churchill. I thought he was a great hero. So it makes it very contemporary. So you dip into the past and then you come into the present, and the children are performing it. So, for example, in the last scene, it has the five children from the school performing it, and they come up to the audience and they say that, "What are you all prepared to be united? Can you hold the hand of the person who is sitting next to you? And can you say these words, you and united?" That Mr. Bose felt that we came under the British thumb because we were not united as a people. So that makes it contemporary. It makes it very relatable. So it's a kind of device which I have used in all three plays. So the same five children are in the Gandhi as well as in the book on Baba Sahib Ambedkar.
So, apart from this patriotism that shines through the book that you want to convey to kids, what are the other major character traits of Subhash Chandra Bose that you want children to learn from?
Well, for example, his great admiration for women, his far-seeking thing. Uh, we have just started the NDA for girls 1 or 2 years ago. But Subhash Bose was thinking about the Rani Jhansi regiment at a time when there were no contemporary examples. His encounters with girls, he was such a powerful personality that women were selling off their jewelry. They wanted to join. So he met families of the girls. So the struggles. standing up to bullying, fighting, you know, sacrifice. He gets to the ICS, he's number 4 in the list, and he turns down a safe job, a secure career. He's the president of the Indian National Congress, but because of Gandhi G's undemocratic whims, he decides to leave. But still, he doesn't want to break. He remains united. He gives 2 regiments the name of Gandhi and Nehru. They ignored him, but he never ignored them. So, who is the greater person? If you think about it. Uh, and in fact, when the rioting took place post partition, it is said that Gandhi remembered Bose when he was in Calcutta. He said, "I can't seem to find anybody in the Congress. I wish Subhash was here." Uh, because he knew that Subhash had that image. He was beyond Hindu Muslim divide. He could have appealed to both sides. So, but really, Mr. Gandhi still held him in high regard. But Mr. Nehru, I have to say, it appears that he considered him to be a threat even after he was no longer there to challenge him.
True, true. So I was asking you what specific traits that you want kids today to learn from Subhash Chandra Bose, apart from being patriotic towards their nation.
Well, for one thing,
You said, uh,
gender, being sensitive to gender issues, that women are equally capable of doing anything. Standing up to bullying, that it doesn't matter. Even if a teacher is doing wrong, he has to be confronted in a civilized manner, but it does not mean that you allow a teacher to get away with bullying, racist slurs, sacrifice, the spirit of sacrifice, that you get through the ICS, but there are bigger things to do in life, bigger challenges. You can give them up for a higher cause. Commitment to the poor and oppressed. That don't only think about yourself. Go to the village, learn about India, and if you can help the people who are, sick, ailing. So that spirit of self-sacrifice, not just to think of yourself, uh, your own career, to think a little bit beyond of ordinary Indians. So all these they are great messages to learn from Subhash Bose's life. Even when he goes
so
to sorry,
no, no, tell me.
even for example, when he goes to meet Hitler, Miss Mukherjee's book reveals that he did not meet him necessarily as a supplicant. Of course, he wanted his help. But one of the first things he told Hitler is, "You said many bad things against Indians. Please take them all back. Then we can talk better." When he went to Burma, the Burmese prime minister, his remarks are, he says, "When I used to talk to Bose, I would feel I'm not talking to a human being. I would feel there is this great, huge force, which is, you know, I'm confronting a huge force. I'm dealing with a huge force, a tidal wave." This was his magnetism, his personal charm. Uh,
Okay. So in this book, there's a character called Kalyan, who's Bose's friend during the childhood days. So is this character for real, or you have made it up,
this
created it?
It's made up character because Bose was
Okay.
gregarious, but in a play, to perform a play, play directors, playwrights, because I was for some time attached to a theatre in England, the Blue Elephant Theatre. They performed one of my plays on dowry deaths. So playwrights always want to limit the characters because
Okay.
so you can't have to become unmanageable if you have too many
Yeah.
characters. So I compressed all the characters into this fictitious uh, friend, Kalyan, and that also makes the play more engaging. for women to read.
Okay, okay. And like while you have Bose's interaction with Hitler and Winston Churchill, also you have mentioned not directly but indirectly, not directly with Bose, talking with Bose, but Winston you've mentioned. You have avoided Gandhi G's interactions with Bose.
Yes, Gandhiji is referred to.
The also maybe the INC part of it when he was there.
Uh,
Suddenly, like he's in college, and then suddenly he's a 31-year-old man that you're talking about. So in between period is was that deliberate?
uh, yes, I think,
Hmm.
uh, like Bose says, focus on the unifying aspects. So, if I was writing a book for adults, uh, I have written actually, I have written a book.
Yeah,
Yes, so that is
yeah, I
different.
know.
But if I'm writing for children, I want to focus on the unifying aspects, uh, because unless it's necessary for the child, there's no point in getting into uh, unnecessary controversy. Both besides,
Altercations.
yes, yes. So, uh, so that is very deliberate. That uh, so, for example, Ambedkar also, he had many differences with Gandhiji, but my book on Ambedkar, it speaks
Doesn't
about him.
mention that.
It does not focus.
But don't you think? But don't you think it's not? It's not correct to do that because truth should be told, whether it is unpalatable, whether it is not liked by people,
No,
and children being children, like at young age, like what I feel is that see, no, but none of us is perfect. No, we all have our flaws. So a person should be presented as that.
you're
So,
very right. You're very right.
eulogizing Gandhi ji, nothing against him. He's done many great things for our country, but he had his own flaws.
I agree with you.
So we should be
I agree with
bold
you.
enough to talk about that.
No, no. So I agree with you, Rajkumari ji. And for this reason, for example, in the Gandhi book, Gandhi, in the play on Gandhi, Gandhi is defeated by Kasturba on many occasions in the play.
Okay, okay.
So he is not painted. It's also a story of personal growth. And the same happens with Subhash Bose, but confronting them with another historical figure, that is unnecessary. So none
Okay.
of these books, all the books portray authentic characters, and it is not that they are painted out to be some kind of supermen. They are very vulnerable. They have their struggles. They make their mistakes. For example, in the play on Gandhi, when he forces Kasturba outside the house, where he tries to dominate her, and his mother intervenes. So Gandhi's flaws are shown, but also his growth is shown. That he realizes, uh, you know, that he made mistakes, and even in Subhash's case, he in the initial stages he makes some wrong missteps. So he goes to, but then he realizes those are mistakes. So it's a story of personal growth. So they are not painted as perfect creatures in any of them. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. In fact, this is something I want to redress also, because if you have, and this is an Indian tendency which we need to get rid of, that we just sort of say that this is a perfect person. Gandhiji was a
Yeah.
perfect, he was a perfect boy, he was a perfect son. So that is not true, and we should.
Yeah.
And if you write something like that, then children will not enjoy it also, uh, and they will not engage with it, because everybody
No,
understands
no,
if
maybe
something.
they will do it more because they understand. Because you know what I feel is that when you see a person all good, all positive, na, you tend to get a little inhibited by that. Because inside us, we all know our flaws, na, our faults.
Sure.
So then it is difficult to what do you say, relate to that person.
Yes, you are right. Absolutely. So, uh,
And in fact, Gandhi Ji, My Experiments with Truth, is written extensively about his own flaws. He's written
yes,
how he used to tell lies to his father and then how he felt bad about it. All those things he himself has written. So,
true,
but
true,
then again, writing like autobiography is different, writing about others is different. So, can I say that maybe your own love for the character, or love for the person, comes in the way of not writing about his flaws?
No, I don't think so. Because
Okay.
uh, I have also written a very critical book for Gandhi, on Gandhi,
Okay.
which I'm
Okay.
reviewing currently. Uh, so uh, so I do respect all these characters, but I would not say that I'm in awe of any of them. And as a writer,
Okay.
yes, as a writer, I want to uh, give a realistic picture, uh, but at the same time, focus on things for children which they can learn from. You know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now that we've come to the towards the end of this conversation, I want to ask you, what are you busy writing these days? What are you busy working on now? Have you started your next play for children?
No, actually, because I write across multiple genres, so children's books is one genre, but I also write non-fiction. I write novels. So next book
I know.
is going to be, the title is Harvard, Oxford, and Cambridge: the past, present,
Okay.
and future of excellence in
Okay.
education. So
Okay. So when do we expect that?
in a few months,
Okay. You're
yes.
quite a prolific writer. You keep on writing, 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 no? Don't you get ever time, any time, don't you get blocks?
No,
Or
actually,
is this or
writer's
is
block.
this your way, like you shift from children's play to fiction to non-fiction? That's your way, that's how you cope with it.
I think maybe so. I have never experienced. In fact, मेरे को क्या समस्या होती है? Uh, that is that my hands get tired typing. I have too much to
Okay.
write. So मेरे को तो मैं
Too
तो
much in the
अगर
mind.
हाँ
Too much in the mind to put it
yes. So
on book paper.
so I limit myself. I say यार इससे ज़्यादा काम नहीं करना और इससे ज़्यादा टाइप नहीं
Okay.
करना. Otherwise you'll develop a headache or you'll develop a backache or ache. So I limit myself. So not only do I not have writer's block, have excess of material, and I have to keep telling myself, okay, you've done 1 hour of typing, that's enough for the day.
Okay. Okay. So what do you do when you keep yourself away from writing?
Uh,
Deliberately keep yourself away from writing, then what do you do?
well, I enjoy travel a lot. So my last book before
Okay.
this was on 7 Asian countries, which I have visited. That was the uh, elephant and the dragon's influence on Asia, which is Indian influence, as well as, the uh, let me show you the book since we are there. Elephants danced and dragons flew. So,
Okay.
so my plan was actually to visit all the countries in Asia, but then Corona came and I could not do it. Uh, I have visited about 14 countries in Asia. So I enjoy traveling a lot. I'm very fond of music. I'm very fond of cinema. So yes, cinema and reading. I do enjoy reading a lot. So
Okay.
I think I have to be grateful to my parents that they gave me this interest in reading, especially my mother.
Okay. Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Talwar, for talking to us. And
Thank
I
you.
wish you all the best for all your new books. And I hope we'll get The Girl Who Did This, This, This from you soon.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you,
Yeah.
Rajkumar
Thank,
ji.
thank
And
you. Thank you so much.